One of the great mistakes that happens by people when it comes to Chamisha B'Tevis is that we get caught up in the physical facts. The tragedy of the Rebbe's family is so painful. You know, I heard that the Rebbe's, and someone walked into the Rebbe's in Memches Take. The Rebbe's passed away 2 months later. Somebody walked into the Rebbe's in Chamisha B'Tevis 1 month later and said to the Rebbe's in Gut Yom Tov, and the Rebbe's said, in der Stube das nicht kein Yom Tov. In this house is not a Yom Tov. That's what I heard. I've since heard other versions of it, so I don't know if this is true or not, but it sounds like the Rebbe's, she was that sharp. But in der Stube das nicht kein Yom Tov, the family was torn to pieces. A family that had been torn to pieces. The Friedrich Rebbe's Kinder, it's so impossible to understand. It's so impossible to understand how this happened with the Friedrich Rebbe's daughter and the Friedrich Rebbe's grandson, and really it begins with the Friedrich Rebbe's Rebbe's. It's impossible to understand, and it's foolish to be caught up in this parsha because we'll never ever understand it. The idea that people think of the Sfarim as books and a building, it was about books. It was about a building. I mean, I'm sure you know the story. The story in very, very brief. In the court case, the judge calls it dues. Chassidim gave maimed. There was no official amount. Everybody gave maimed whatever they wanted, whatever they could afford. But the Rebbeim took maimed. The money of maimed was officially for the personal needs of the Rebbe. The money of maimed was for the personal needs of the Rebbe. And with this money, the Rebbe lived. Our Rebbe, the Rebbe's Gesundsein, people gave him maimed, but he never took it for himself. The Rebbe didn't take maimed. He gave it to Tzedakah. He never took the maimed for himself. The Rebbe and the Rebbetzin lived like Joseph Lushkin writes in his book, on a $6,000 a year annual salary. Lived like poor people. It's very strange. I don't know what to say. The Rebbe and the Rebbetzin lived like Automalite, mamish, like poor people. They had a very limited budget, and they wouldn't take a penny for themselves from a person, mufrach. They were very, very careful, the Rebbe and the Rebbetzin. The mamish lived. All the Rebbeim lived nice. The Rebbe and the Rebbetzin lived like poor people.
Did Chabad buy their house?
The house didn't belong to them. It belonged to Merkez. The house was not theirs. It never was theirs. It was Merkez. But the Rebbe and the Rebbetzin lived, they couldn't afford to fix their house, Pashat. I know stories. The Rebbe and the Rebbetzin lived on a limited budget, and they wouldn't, I mean, what would Chassidim not do for the Rebbe? He wouldn't take a penny. But the Rebbeim were going to Maimed. Now, if the Rebbeim took Maimed, and they bought things with the money of Maimed, arguably what they bought with the money of Maimed was personal. The Friedrich Rebbe came to America, and as soon as he got here, he incorporated Lubavitch. When the Friedrich Rebbe bought 770, he immediately made it the property of a guch. It's not his. When the Rebbe brought his library here, he officially registered as a library of a Agudas Chassidei Chabad. He made it public. Their taina was that was for tax purposes. And the Rebbe's taina was the Friedrich Rebbe is a ganav. He's evading taxes. Mamish, the Friedrich Rebbe is a ganav. He's trying to save himself a few dollars, so really 770 is his private property. Really the library is his private property. He made it a guch because he's saving money. This is how dirty it got. This is what it came down to. And the Rebbe said the Friedrich Rebbe made it public because it's public. Finished. And then there's the whole pnimius that it was always public. In other words, even by the earlier Rebbeim, where the Rebbeim did not officially make it the property of the Chalav Anash. When you gave the Rebbe money for Maimed, you gave the Rebbe money for Maimed in the words of the Rebbetzin, because the Rebbe belongs to the Chassidim. If the Rebbe belongs to the Chassidim, so the property of the Rebbe belongs to the Chassidim. But in America, the Rebbe made it official. And this is what the fight was about in Das Tachten, in Chitzonius. But if you or I, especially you, because for you this is, it's important for me also, but it's more important for you. When you think about Achei Temimim, you think about books, you're thinking about a building, you're missing the whole real truth. The truth is, this is a shaila of Oid Yosef Chai. That's what it's a shaila about. Is the Rebbe's life a physical life? And if the Rebbe's life is a physical life, when the physical kufa is not available, it's finished? Or is the Rebbe's life, like it says in Tanya, Avos Hashem and Yirus Hashem and Emunas Hashem, which has no hefsek. And this is what the Kitrug was. This is what the Kitrug was. Now understand, According to the Rebbe, there shouldn't have been a kitrug. Why shouldn't there have been a kitrug? Because we certainly did enough. The Alter Rebbe Chassidim should have done more. The middle Rebbe Chassidim should have done more. The Rebbe said about us, our generation, you cannot say we didn't do enough. Not of the end, they wanted us to do more. Do more in what way? In the area of Eid Yosef Chai. And the idea that the life of a Rebbe is not a physical life, Ubemel, there's no hefsek. There's no hefsek. This is Chamisha B'Teves, girls. Why is it a big holiday? It's not about books. Go buy books Thursday. I have a problem. I have a problem because in this respect I'm old. And my son says to me, one of my children is going out of town, you have to buy them Sfarim and Achei Temimim because mitzvahs hayeh b'Sfarim. It's true. You're supposed to buy Sfarim Achei Temimim. My children are very religious about it. Unfortunately, I'm not so religious about it because I have a chassan. I'm wrong. Achei Temimim, Chamish b'Teves, you have to buy Sfarim. But what's it about?
Learn that.
It's about the Rebbe. It's about Eid Yosef Chai. Learn this from is also very important. Chanukah is about candles. I'm asking you. Chanukah is about candles.
No.
Chanukah is about Chanukah is about Mesiras Nefesh. Everybody understands that. Chanukah is about Mesiras Nefesh. The Mesiras Nefesh is the reason the candle that should have burned for a day burned for 8. It's about Mesiras Nefesh. Chamisha B'Teves isn't about Sfarim. Chamisha B'Teves is about Eid Yosef Chai. And how important is that for you? How important is that for all of us? We have a Yom Tif. We have a day, which is a Yom Tif. And for the third time, do not even think about saying Tachlin on Thursday. What is this Yom Tif about? This Yom Tif is about that the life of a Rebbe is not a physical life. Now, 36 years ago, you could have said, well, the Frierdiker Rebbe lives in the Rebbe. But today, we all know exactly what it means. We all know exactly what it means. Because we see it, we live it.
It's about Eid Yosef Chai?
Yes.
So on a practical level, what does that mean?
On a practical level, it means this is the ultimate day of hiskashrus. It's the ultimate day of hiskashrus. Now, hiskashrus is always a funny thing. You think hiskashrus is funny for you because you never met the Rebbe. Hiskashrus is always funny. You know why it's always funny? And I've said this to you before. You've heard this from me. One of the things that I try not to do is lie. When you looked at the Rebbe, you saw a goof, a bus of Adam. It's impossible, unless you're yourself a Rebbe, to look at the goof of a Rebbe and see what it really is. A kus. I promise you that when we were in 770, 40 years ago, 35 years ago, we forgot we were standing in whose presence we were standing. Because it was a bus of Adam. We were so blinded, we were so spoiled. It was so easy. Okay, so the idea, there's a story, there was a chassid named Rebbe Alter Simchovich. The Frierdiker Rebbe came to Yisrael and he had a yeshiva, he was the mashpia in Teres Emes. And they were nice boys, Chassidish Abachadim, but they were Yerushalayim Abachadim, they were not around the Rebbe a lot. And when the Frierdiker came to yeshiva to verbringen and opfassen sich auf the Tisha B'Av, he said, in my Chassidus, when the Rebbe left, Rebbe Alter was beside himself. He was screaming at his Bachrim. Was hat gesehen? A nose hat gesehen. A lakus hat gesehen. What did you just see? A nose? You saw lakus. It's the same test for you, it's the same test for me. Hiskashrus, Tochter, has many levels. The simplest level of hiskashrus is do what he says. Do what he says. And by the way, another thing in our pasha, right? How did yesterday's chitas finish? Sunday? Anybody? Look, check. Ich hab Zeit. Verdammt, hab ich Zeit. Sunday. How did Sunday's chitas finish? V'nafshei kshura b'nafshei. Where do you have in Chumash hiskashrus? Vayigash. V'nafshei kshura b'nafshei. What does it mean, v'nafshei kshura b'nafshei?
And he holds it.
That the neshama of one and the neshama of the other are connected. What's hiskashrus? On a chitzaniistic level, hiskashrus is we do it. We learn chitas, we learn Rambam, we do mivtzoyim, we koch sich HaMashiach. Those are good things. The pnimis of hiskashrus, it's a spirit. It's your neshama and the Rebbe's neshama, and my neshama and the Rebbe's neshama. The Rebbe's neshama, everybody's neshama. Hiskashrus has many layers. The simplest level is we have to do what the Rebbe wants us to do, and do it b'tich simcha, because that's what the Rebbe wants us to do. To do it b'tich simcha. The deepest of hiskashrus, it's a spiritual connection. You will spend your entire life developing this. This is no 5 minutes. This is not even 5 years. I'm spending my entire life developing hiskashrus. This is the Yom Tov of hiskashrus. In a way, more than your Aleph Nissen. Your Aleph Nissen is very personal. But this is the moyed, this is the date that's fixed in our calendar, Chamisha B'Teves, that says, the Pnimius, a Rebbe's life is not a physical life. And his Rebbe's relationship with his Chassidim is not a physical relationship. When I was growing up, I used to complain to my father. My father just got up from Shiva, he lost his sister. My father and my aunt, and her older brother, were born in the 1930s in Moscow. They should be mental cases in baskets, in wheelbarrows, you understand? They should be total losers. Their life was impossible. They had a crazy, crazy life. They got married, they had families, and they're unbelievably successful people. But they went through Shiva Madura Gehenim. The Rebbe was their father. Mamish. The Rebbe had time for them. The Rebbe, my father told me that he came to the secretary and said, I need an hour. An hour with the Rebbe. So he says, okay, but you're going to go in last. And the Rebbe spent an hour with my father. And I believe personally, it's because my father was an orphan. My father was a Yosem. The Rebbe took care of that generation. My aunt told me once, the Rebbe stopped her in the street. She was a 16-year-old girl. Was machst du? Was macht der Tate? 10 minutes. He spoke to her on the sidewalk about school. The Rebbe was a father to that generation. And I believe, I really believe, if not for the Rebbe, there'd be nothing from them. I wouldn't be born. There'd be nothing. They were so crazy. The Rebbe held them and gave them a moon in themselves and allowed them to get married and to build families and to Baruch Hashem, to go on shlichus in many cases. So I used to complain to my father, he had all this, the Rebbe gave me so much attention and the Rebbe didn't give me any attention. My father didn't have words to say, you Meshuggah spoiled American chocolatniks. You know where I come from, you know where you come from? I mean, the comparison is so foolish. But he said to me, Yossi, which generation gave the Rebbe more shluch? Mine or yours? In percentage. How physically close you are to a Rebbe does not determine your degree of hiskashrus. The Rebbe said that. Sometimes the people far away have greater hiskashrus, and the people closer miss it. Because hiskashrus, a pneumistic thing. Again, the beginning of hiskashrus is action. The beginning of hiskashrus is ma'aseh b'peil. The end of hiskashrus is nafshei kshura b'nafshei. It's a very deep, pneumistic spiritual thing. It's going to take you your whole life. When you're an old lady in Mitzvah Hashem, you'll be a bigger makusha than you are now. Maybe you'll make less noise and you won't be outwardly so chassidish, but the neshama connection is going to deepen and deepen and deepen and deepen. This day is the Yom Tov of hiskashrus. This day is the Nesinas Koyach. For, like the Rebbe, all the oasis that the Rebbe used. Right, we're in Mitzrayim. And that the head to give life to the Jewish people. All of these oasis that the Rebbe used in regard to today, to this day, to Chamisha B'Teves, they're all deep and important. So you ask me what to do? Buy books. That's what you should do. Buy books. But think about it. Verbring about it. About the idea of hiskashrus. And you're young, you have much more koyach than I do. You have much more tmimis than I do. You have much more will than I do. But you'll get old, you'll start realizing that you lose all of those other things, but you gain a little bit more pnimis. Hiskashrus is one of the deepest things. It's not simple, and it's not easy. It's real. And this day says the guf, it's not the issue. It's the nafshei, should have been nafshei. Am I answering you?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
It's a little hard.
Yeah, of course, it's a lot hard. Not a little hard, it's a lot hard. So practically buy books, as I told you. Okay, girls, we're out of time.